Luke, I want you to stop that right now.
For a lot of people, this is the model police officer.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Luke, acting like a young'un.
Brave, calm, fair. It's an image people have had ingrained in their brains for a long time. But for many Americans, it's been totally upended in the last decades.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out.
Let go.
The idea that the police are the thin blue line separating civilization from anarchy, that's police propaganda that is cultivated by police themselves, right? But then it gets embedded over generations into sort of just absorbed as a kind of settled logic when it comes to how we perceive public safety in this country. Everybody thinks that they're so much less safe than they really are.
And that fear has been used to justify skyrocketing police budgets. But a bigger, heavier armed police force doesn't automatically lead to safer streets.
Although people today have a misperception that police were founded in the United States in order to, quote unquote, keep us safe, when police forces are implemented in various sections of the country, they're primarily concerned with racial control, ethnic control, and class control. Chicago's police department, when it's founded in 1853, because city elites are really concerned about the behavior of European immigrants, so in particular the drinking habits of German and Irish immigrants, and they found and actually fund the police department in order to control these, quote unquote, undesirable people. A lot of southern cities owe the origins of their police departments to slave patrols and to the fact that police departments sort of emerged from the logics and in some ways even the very institutions themselves that were implemented in order to surveil and track and arrest people for the crime of stealing themselves to freedom.
Policing has changed since the times of slave patrols, but statistics show it's still not very effective in actually stopping crimes. And people in communities with a lot of crime know it.
Police be tripping now? Yeah, this is America.
Most violent and property crimes never get reported to police, and most that are reported never get solved. A 2020 study found that America's police departments spend only 4% of their time handling violent crime. But those stats haven't convinced the vast majority of Americans that defund the police is a good idea. As of March, only 18% of people support it. The same survey found 67% of Democrats do support redistributing portions of police budgets to social programs, compared with only 16% of Republicans.
A world without police seems unimaginable to a lot of people right now, but for the most part, the places where each of us lives, if we live in the United States, has existed at some point in time without a formalized police department.
And people have been arguing to get rid of the police since policing began in America. Civil rights activists and thinkers like Ida B. Wells, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Angela Davis called out racism within the institution and imagined some potential solutions that have now entered the mainstream conversation.
Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police?
So, Edward, what exactly does defund the police mean?
Yeah, defunding the police, I think, is taking the funding away and redistributing it to other sources that could be better used to improve communities. Police as they exist, right now, they bundle a lot of services, they bundle a lot of roles that don't need to belong to an armed group of people who take up a lot of a city and locale's resources.
How would that work practically speaking? So if something were happening violent to me, or I was witnessing something violent, or someone asked for help, I call 911, what happens from there?
Well, that's why I think defunding the police has to be interlocked with the idea of abolition, right? And, re-examining how we think about crime. We want to get at the roots of crime. If you're going to roll back police services, you have to, expand massively your investment into the communities. And you can't do one or the other, right? It also wouldn't make sense for us to massively expand social services, but keep militarized forces rolling through communities. What good is it to have, social welfare programs if you're also holding a bat just around the corner?
And so you use the word abolition, which is to say we need to abolish the concept of police as we know it and then start over effectively.
Abolition of police is interlocked with ideas of how we think of punishment and how we think of crime. If we are really concerned about, for example, drug offenses, the solution is not so much to just throw people in jail or to punish people or to have cops show up to the house of people who are doing drugs, but to figure out, okay, what about the drug offenses are really the problem? Is it addiction?
How is it possible to come to some common ground between people who think, hey, the police are effectively overall a force of bad, and other people who are like, police are good, we need them?
That argument in cases is going to have to always be made. I mean, Jim Crow was pretty popular at the time that it was, widespread, and that system of racial terror is, everyone today would say that's obviously an odious thing that shouldn't have happened, and yet, it had, pretty wide support among Americans. I think that a lot of ideas in the moment seem hegemonic and seem to make sense, and so this is something that is not it is not the final form of how we can handle conflict or crime or, make sure that communities are safe. And until we, re-examine those, then we're gonna just constantly be thinking of how do we humanely punish people.